Hi guys, my name's Jake Hicks. Thanks for joining me. Today I just want to do something a little bit different and put together just a real quick video on my first impressions of one of the new Bowens lights that they've just released, the XMT, which is their new location unit. Full disclosure on this, I am actually an ambassador of Bowens. They're not paying me to do this video or anything like that, but I've been working with them for the last few years on training and providing sort of resources online and that sort of thing, and doing demos at some of their shows and bits and pieces like that. So yeah, they have loaned me this light, and I've had it for about just over a week now, and I've done a couple of shoots with it, and I just want to give you my first impressions, and I also want to go over some of the features later on as well, so some of the key features with this new light. And also right at the end of the video I will also go over a couple of questions and answers that I've received from people. I know last week I uploaded a video, just a quick unboxing video of this, and there was some interesting questions that came in that I certainly hadn't thought of, so I'll go over those towards the end as well. So, first impressions of the new Bowens XMT location light. Well, first and foremost, you'll notice obviously that there's no cables. Okay, so as ready to go straight out the box. The batteries actually came fully charged as well, which is nice. So you literally can just start shooting straight away. And yeah, the batteries in the back here. So you just pull the back lever and then just pop them out. Okay, you'll also check the power of them on the back there as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, and they just pop in there, click in, and you're off. So I've been shooting in a studio predominantly for the last 10-15 years. My lights have always had cables on them, powered from the wall socket. So I was, when they said to me, "Oh, do you want to try out these lights?" I was like, "Yeah, no, absolutely." But I'm probably going to stick to my studio lights until I started to use these lights without cables, and it's like one of those features you don't realize that you love until literally until you've tried it. So I've been using this on a shoot last week, and you can put it on a boom and bring it up, just moving them around real quick, and the cable's not getting in the way. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to go back to just using regular studio lights with cables afterwards, because that's definitely one of the key features for me. The other thing as well is obviously going to be the first thing that you'll notice compared to the Bowens light is obviously the quick release. Okay, so this is where it goes on the stand. Quick release, it's just one grip and then it comes over like that. So just twist it like that. I'll just show you the older one, the ones that I've been using in the studio. So anybody who uses Bowens lights up until this point, it'll be the old L bracket. Okay. These are the old Esprits that I've been using for like 15 years or something, but before that we had so in between this one and this one are the Geminis, which is what you guys might have, but same principle still applies. You've got this L bracket that is just off to the side of the light like that. Now one of the issues with that was that it was sometimes a bit heavy. If you had like a heavy modifier on the front here and you've got this L bracket, some of the weight was all going onto this one point here, so it has all been centralized onto that quick release collar there, which is nice. Okay, so that's one of the key differences. Bearing in mind that weight-wise as well, first impressions weight-wise, that these heads actually pretty much weigh the same amount, and you think, well, that's okay, that's not unusual surely, but remember this has got all the power in it as well. And the heaviest part of this light is really that battery pack. The old studio heads obviously don't have the power in them, so even though they weigh a similar amount, that one has the battery already in it. So what else do we have first impressions wise was, yeah, oh yes, let's just pop that off there. So modifiers. So that's just a cap there. Obviously, and then you can use this as a standard reflector straight away, and I'll just click the button there and then just pop it out to show you the actual bulb and its head there. One nice thing I noticed as well was that you can actually change these yourself if you ever need to, okay, which is pretty cool. So that the whole flash tube and unit is in there, and the Bowens bulbs are now encased in that dome as well, so it just gives you an extra layer of sort of coverage, as it were, as opposed to the old ones that didn't have that dome. modelling bulb is what I wanted to mention, was the fact that these battery pack units are run by, or the modelling bulb is now an LED, not actually a tungsten modelling bulb like it used to be. So there's a couple of key things with that I sort of spotted. First and foremost is obviously the temperature. Like, these do not get hot. The LEDs, you know, produce very little heat indeed. So I had a totally enclosed modifier on there with a gel over it and that sort of thing, and it just didn't even get hot, not even a little bit really. So that was really nice. So there's no issues with you burning yourself or trying to knock the light over because you're trying to remove one of the modifiers with your shirt and that sort of thing, which is what it used to be because they were too damn hot to touch. On the subject of modelling bulbs, this one is a very small point in between this flash tube here. Right in the middle is a tiny little LED, which is where all the light comes from. So if you've got a modifier on here with a grid on it, then it's actually a very hard light source, so the grid will actually be shown onto your subject. Well, when I was demoing it at the weekend, a couple of people were asking, oh, why is that modifier now showing a grid? When you actually take the picture, the flash will go off and you won't see the grid because it's actually, the larger bulb is actually taking the picture, not the LED. It's just one thing to bear in mind, that the modelling bulbs will give your modifiers a different look, even though when you take the picture, it'll have the actual same look, if you like. And on that note, again, remember the color temperature. Color temperatures are going to be a lot cooler than the older tungsten bulbs. So that, so the images will look, or if you're just viewing it straight away, you can see that it looks a lot bluer in temperature. So that's just something to bear in mind. What else have we got on the list there? Oh yeah, the recycle times. And super quick. I mean, I don't shoot a lot of high speed or high action things, so it's not kids running around or anything like that. I don't need to have super fast recycle times, but if you do, then yeah, this is just insanely fast. It just charges up almost instantly. I don't know whether that's to do with the battery or just how it delivers power to it, but yeah, I was really surprised by that. It's just almost no lag at all if you're trying to fire quickly. What else have we got? Battery life, whilst we're speaking about that, that's a good one. I was amazed. I hadn't actually used battery units before at all, so to be fair, I was a little bit skeptical as to how often I was going to have to change the battery. Like, I don't know, and especially on a shoot, if I don't have a backup or redundancy in place, then I do tend to get a little bit paranoid. But yeah, the power of these is just insane. I think the actual stats is like 500 full power flashes, which is crazy off one charge. But in a real life instance, for example, we were demoing all day, every day over the weekend. So we're on the Bowen stand doing lighting demos, and there was like 4 of us shooting all day on the same battery. So like the lights just were on all day. Modelling bulbs were on all day as well, and we were using them the whole time. And yeah, we just charged the batteries up at the end of the day. We never once had to change the battery during the day. So that's amazing, absolutely crazy, really. So that's really impressive. I don't know whether that's normal for battery packs like this or battery powered lights like this, but I can't imagine that you could ask for any more, really. I mean, if it lasts all day, surely that's all you ever need. What else we got on there? The only thing I noticed, which is not really that important, but it's worth mentioning if you're an old Bowens shooter, is the fact that the S-ring here, the S-ring adapter, is just off kilter compared to the older ones. So I don't know whether you can see, but the 2 prongs go in there, okay? Whereas on the new ones, the prong is literally straight above. Not a major issue. It just means that some of the modifiers are off to one side compared to what it was previously, but just worth mentioning it. And I certainly noticed it on a couple of them, like the ring light adapter and that sort of thing will be off key. But on that note, actually, just mentioning the ring light, I will just mention that I did use it, and the fact that you can actually put the ring light on there, whereas before you couldn't because it had a tungsten modeling bulb sticking out, and because of the temperature of this, it doesn't actually create any warmth. You can use the ring light modifier or the ring light adapter now for the first time with a modeling bulb, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. That's what we got. Kelvin of the flash tube. It's probably just me, but I've had my old lights for many years, and your older Bowens lights will be a lot warmer. Like the actual flash tubes get warmer in terms of a white balance the longer you have them. So it's probably just the fact that any flash tube that you buy is going to, a new one will be cooler. I noticed it was about 1,500 Kelvin cooler than my old one. Just thought I'd mention it. If you've got a newer light, then you may not notice any difference at all, but it's not a problem. You just white balance the camera and you're off. And then what else we got lastly? Oh yeah, that's actually, yeah, good point. It was the fact that the menu system, so it was all very well. This light has got a ton of features, which I'll go through in a second, but on the back of this light here, you've basically got 3 buttons on one side, 3 buttons on the other, and then a central dial that you turn. But all the menus can be accessed via these buttons. It's not a case of having to go through 10 different modes to get to the mode that you want. Basically, it's one click on each of the buttons will give you the top mode, and then hold the button in will give you the bottom mode. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. It was really nice and simple and easy to use. So yeah, that is my first impressions, and yeah, let's just go through some of the key features. So let's go over some of the key features of the XMT. First and foremost, like I mentioned before, obviously we got the quick release stand, so that's simple enough. I've already mentioned that. And what else? Well, we've got in terms of obviously we've got the LED modeling bulb, mentioned that as well. And then let's talk about some of the actual features, modes and that sort of thing. We have TTL. So this light will work with TTL. Now, to use any flash head with TTL, you will need the corresponding flash trigger, and then set your camera up as well. But I mean, I never use TTL, and to be fair, I don't know anybody who does, but I'm sure that if you're a wedding shooter or something like that, where you just want to put the light up somewhere, and then, or if you've got something like a bride or something walking towards it, then you're not having to manually adjust the power. It will sort of work out. It'll lower the power as the bride gets closer and that sort of thing. So I'm sure in certain circumstances TTL can be invaluable, especially if you don't have an assistant. And it does have the ability to strobe as well. So for example, if you've got a dancer, so you've got a dancer going across a stage, something like that, so that the flash will go and you can get, like, I don't actually know the full stats, but I don't know, 10 or so shots or something like that, obviously as she's doing the dance move and that sort of thing. So yeah, if you do anything like that, then that could be quite cool, especially if you wanted to get it all in the same frame. That's pretty cool. And high-speed sync. So those of you that aren't aware, high-speed sync basically means that you can take very fast shutter speed with a flash. Normally, most flash heads and the older Bowens flash heads and most flash heads, in fact, you can only really go up to sort of 2/50th or like 1/60th, so not very fast shutter speed at all. And which can mean that there's certain amounts of blurring and that sort of thing if you're taking shots outside and you've got somebody moving quite quickly, like if you're doing somebody running along a beach or something like that. And what this will do is that you can have the shutter speed at 2,000 or 4,000 or something like that, and actually take a picture, and the flash will be captured, and the flash will capture your subject really crisply, which is good. We had photographer Steve Brown working on this, working with us when we were doing some demos over the weekend, and he had a model doing karate kicks and that sort of thing, and it was like that. The images were absolutely pin sharp. I don't really need high-speed sync for anything that I do. I've only got models and stuff, and they're not moving particularly quickly. But I can imagine that if you were portrait shooters, you're trying to capture like fast-moving children or dogs and that sort of thing running around, then it might actually be a nice feature to have, just to keep everything nice and crisp. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Oh yes, I mentioned about the triggers. So let's put that down. So some of the features on the lights, like I mentioned, like the TTL and high-speed sync and that sort of thing, will be camera specific. So Bowens have actually made triggers for Nikon, Canon and Sony, and the Nikon ones will trigger with the Fuji cameras as well, but I don't think you can use the Fuji with TTL and high-speed sync. You can just use the telemetry and that sort of thing. So it'll fire the flashes, but you can't do any of the more advanced functions, but you will need the right trigger for your camera. But yeah, so they've got all of those. Also we got, oh yeah, there's actually the screen on the back of these, on the back of the lights. You probably can't see it, but basically what it does is it actually shows you the power of the light, and it also shows you the flash duration. So at the moment I've got it down at the lowest flash power, and underneath it it's got 10,390th, oh, yeah, 10,309th of a second. So pretty fast. So 10,000ths of a second going all the way up to, so at full power, just over 200th of a second in terms of flash duration. So, you know, when it's on its lowest power there, yeah, 10,000ths of a second, and that's, you know, you don't have to have anything synced or anything like that. That's a super short flash duration, but I just thought it was quite nice that it actually showed it on there. It's pretty cool. What else have we got? I've already mentioned the menu, the fact that it's really simple, easy to use at the back there. Strobe mode, already mentioned that. It goes from 2 to 10, so it's basically 8 stops of range there, which is pretty nice. I know some lights only have like 5 or 6, and so I think this has actually got 8 stops of range, so going all the way from the lowest at 2, going all the way up to 10. So yeah, it's got crazy range. And then of course, lastly, the pricing. So pricing wise, I think the head on its own, I'm not sure about the head on its own. I do know the packs here. So I've got a pack here. I'll just show you. So it's basically, it came in this kit where you have 2 heads, a couple of batteries, and it also comes with these travel stands as well. So 2 of those travel stands. At the moment, to my knowledge, that's about 2,500 for the, you know, for the actual travel kit, which is, I suppose in first impressions you might think, oh, okay, well that's a little bit pricey compared to what I pay for my other lights. But remember, they are these battery-powered travel packs, and if you think about their main competitor, Profoto, in terms of doing exactly the same unit, which they have their B1s, that's like 3,500, 3,600 for the same, you know, the same kit. So it's a decent amount less than that, and these are 2 years newer than the B1s as well. So yeah, that's just it on the pricing as well. Okay, so that's some of the key features out of the way. Let's have a look at some of the questions and answers. So last week I popped up a quick video, it's only like a minute or so, of just like a time lapse of me unwrapping these when I first got them from Bowens, and quickly I had a few questions come in about, you know, what's the, what do they do this? What's the difference between this and this? And I'd never used battery packs before or location units before, so some of the questions were actually news to me as well, and I looked into them and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to answer a couple of those. So bear with me, my throat has been shouting all day or all weekend on stage doing the demos, so that's why I'm huskier than normal. But let's have a look at some of the first, probably just going to go through 2 or 3 here, but we've got the first one from Brett Ida, and he asks the difference, what's the difference really in regards to the Bowens flash tube being exposed like this, and the Profoto B1s, which, as I said, is the similar unit in the fact that it's a battery-powered, no cables unit that you can use on location. What's the difference between the Bowens exposed bulb on this one, on the XMT, and the Profoto B1s which have basically an enclosed bulb. So, for example, the Profotos, and I've never actually used the Profotos, whether it be the studio units or the B1, so I can't comment or give you a definitive answer. But essentially, the Profotos are enclosed, and they have and then they have like a diffuse screen over the top like that. So the bulb itself is actually in there, and then all the power just comes directly out of there and then goes around the modifier that you have on top. Now, I'd love to actually put this side by side. Genuinely would love to put these side by side with something like a softbox or a beauty dish. But this is the question that I think Brett was trying to, or the answer that Brett was trying to get was, does the quality of light, how does that affect the quality of light when you have a bulb that is exposed like this? So imagine if you have a softbox on here, okay? The Bowens flash is going to come from everywhere around that modifier, okay? So it's going to come from here, okay? It's going to come from here. It's just going to come from anywhere. So that flash is going to emanate from everywhere, bounce around that softbox, and then come out literally from everywhere. So it's going to be more of a diffused light, and it's a fair comment because the Profoto being enclosed, obviously all the light is essentially, the softbox is here now, so all the light has got to come out of here like this and then spread around the softbox or beauty dish and that sort of thing. So it's my understanding, based on just physics really, that the fact that light, in my opinion, doesn't have enough time to spread in the same way that it would do when the bulb is exposed like this. Okay, so if the light's coming straight out like that, it would be my understanding that you would have more of a hot spot with some of the Profoto modifiers. And I'd love to have a B1 side by side with different modifiers and actually take some shots and see. But I would assume that you're going to have more of a hot spot with the Profoto. And obviously, like I said, I haven't used it, so if you've got a B1 and you ever get one of these and that sort of thing, absolutely love you to take some pictures and send them to me, and I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. But it's just physics, I'm afraid. It's difficult for that flash tube to spread if it's already being channeled by the time it actually leaves the head. So that's pretty interesting. So unfortunately, Brett, I can't give you a definitive answer, but it would definitely be my opinion that this would be more of a diffused light. It'll certainly give you more of an even spread than the B1s that you currently have. What else have we got? Oh yes, actually. So Salim Ramji asks, or says that he's got the B1s as well. And a lot of these questions came in about the Profoto B1s actually, but mainly because they are so similar in terms of it's a battery unit and you can use it on location, and that's why people who are asking those questions maybe have the B1s because they came out like 2 years ago, and they're maybe getting ready for an upgrade and looking at what's available. So he says that his B1s actually have the LED modeling bulb, but it pulses. So what that means is that we can't see the pulse. So when he turns on his B1 and shines it, the modeling bulb is pulsing at such a speed that we visually can't see it. But if you're filming on video or taking a light meter reading of the ambient modeling bulb, that you're actually going to get a different exposure. Okay, so if you're taking a light meter reading, it might be out of pulse, so it'll be obviously darker than when it's at full pulse. Now, in fairness to Profoto, it would be my assumption that it's their way of maybe saving battery power of the actual unit itself. It's quite a clever way of doing it, to be fair, because if we can't see it pulsing, then obviously it just means that the LED is off, and whenever it's off, it's obviously saving power. So it's actually quite a smart way of them actually trying to extend the battery life. But it does mean that you couldn't shoot video with the LED on and the modifiers, and it also means that it's very difficult to take a light meter reading. But these ones, yep, shot video with these just to check it, and I've also, did I think 30 light meter readings with the LED on and it never ever changed. It was exactly the same light meter reading each time. So yeah, to my knowledge, these do not pulse at all. Okay, so you can definitely use it for that. And then lastly, we have a question from Damien Pell. He asks, are you going to have a discount code from Bowens, Jake? And good question. And yes, I will have a discount code from Bowens. I spoke to them at the weekend, and they are going to set me up with a discount code for you guys. So as soon as I get that, I will pass that on, so you'll be able to get some money off, a little bit off. If you're looking to get these, then yeah, definitely use that code, and you can save yourself some money on that. So yeah, thank you for that, Damien. I'll certainly keep you posted. So that is it, guys. Thanks so much. And any questions, please drop them down below in the comments. I'm pretty sure that I've been accurate with everything that I've said here in terms of the stats and figures, but by all means, if you're a B1 user and that sort of thing, and you want to chime in, then definitely do so. Like I said, I haven't used them, so by all means correct me on anything that I've said there, and any other questions regarding this, by all means just let me know, and I will go through those as well. I'm looking to put some pictures together and actually give you some actual live results. It's all very well talking about them, but you know, what are the results from it? So I will certainly let you know on that. Okay, well, thanks very much indeed for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next one.